Making students aware of different intelligences, with Herbert Puchta.
When it comes to human intelligence, Howard Gardner's work has very convincingly shown that intelligence is not one unitary mental capability. Humans have different strengths and weaknesses, and we have different ways of thinking and being smart. Teenagers are often rather self-conscious and in consequence frequently develop negative beliefs about themselves in spite of being so cool in their behavior. A student who has, for example, received a bad mark in a maths test might think that they're not very intelligent, rather than stating that they need to practice more maths, or that maths may be one of their weaker areas compared to their performance in other subjects. Getting students to explore the concept of different intelligences can be a real eye-opener for them. They may begin to see their own strengths and weaknesses in a much more realistic way, and they may begin to understand that intelligence, or intelligences rather, are not fixed at birth and there is nothing one can do about them later on in life, but that intelligences can actually be developed. Here's an idea for a lesson with students of intermediate level upwards that aims to make them aware of the concept of multiple intelligences and also gets them to reflect on their own cognitive capabilities. Start by telling them the story of Albert Einstein, who apparently, and surprisingly to some, wasn't a brilliant student when he was young. When after he was famous, a reporter asked him when he had first had the idea behind the theory of relativity, Einstein said when he was 12. The reporter was surprised as he'd done his homework and looked into Einstein's biography, so he knew that Einstein hadn't been a brilliant student. So Einstein explained that as a student he was constantly daydreaming. The daydream that led to the thinking that the theory of relativity is based on was to imagine that he was not sitting in class, but at the end of a light beam, riding out into cosmos. Einstein explained that he was constantly asking himself if I was now really sitting at the end of a light beam and I was holding a mirror in front of my face, would I see the reflection of my face in the mirror, or since I'm already riding at the speed of light and light can't overtake itself, so to speak, would I just see a black hole? This, Einstein said to the surprised reporter, is what the theory of relativity is based on. And I found it when I was 12. And when my teachers didn't think very highly of me. In fact, there is evidence that one teacher said about Einstein, "This boy is mentally slow and lost forever in his foolish dreams." After telling the story, give your students a list of different intelligences and explain them a bit. The interpersonal intelligence is about being self-smart. Someone who has this intelligence will be confident and happy to be on their own and to think about themselves, and they'll have a good understanding of their own emotions and motivations. The interpersonal intelligence is about being people-smart, understanding others and how they feel, being good at communicating, being a good leader, being a good team member, and being popular and caring. The logical mathematical intelligence is about being math smart and being logical in one's thinking. Understanding patterns, especially language patterns, grammar, is part of the logical mathematical intelligence. The Linguistic intelligence is about being language smart. Someone who has this intelligence will like telling and writing stories, and they'll probably like poetry. The musical intelligence is about being music smart, having a strong sense of rhythm, melody, harmony and counterpoint, gaining satisfaction from these, and finding that learning often comes easier when it's in the form of songs. The visual spatial intelligence is about being image smart, about having a good sense of space in both 2D and 3D. An architect and a sculptor need this intelligence, and people called dyslexic often have a visual spatial intelligence that's far superior to that of many other types of people. The kinesthetic bodily intelligence is about being body smart, being aware of how your own body relates to your surroundings, like a dancer, a gymnast, a footballer, an athlete, a sumo wrestler, a darts player, or a snooker player. And last but not least, the naturalistic intelligence is about being nature smart, noticing things about nature that other people are not aware of. These people have valuable survival skills that they can share with us. Now get students to explore their different intelligences more closely. One idea is to get them to think about their own intelligences by going through the list and jotting down their thoughts about which of the intelligences are their own strong ones and which appear to be not so strong. Then get them to share in groups or pairs what they've discovered about themselves. Unfortunately, many schools and also universities these days value mainly the logical mathematical and the linguistic intelligences, which is why it might be a good idea to stress that all of the intelligences mentioned have equal value.
To find lots of other ideas on how you can use these concepts in your foreign language class, have a look at Multiple Intelligences in EFL by Herbert Puchta and Mario Rinvolucri. It has lots of activities that you and your students will enjoy.